Her name was Zeyra, revered across galaxies, feared in every tongue. Her armor was forged from the bones of conquered kings, her blade quenched in the blood of worlds. She had never tasted defeat, until today. And the one who bested her was human. Scene 1. The fall of the goddess. The air reeked of plasma burns, twisted steel and scorched earth. Legions lay broken, alien banners smoldering in heaps. Zeyra knelt in the dust, her golden armor cracked open, her sword shattered in her hand. Before her stood Captain Elias Varan, a man of flesh and blood, clad in battered combat gear with only a rifle slung across his back. His face was cut, his arms bruised, yet his stance was unyielding. "You should finish me," Zeyra hissed, blood dripping from her lips. Her voice was both a command and a plea. Elias shook his head. "No, I didn't come here to kill gods. Just to stop wars." Her eyes flared, molten gold burning within them. Better to die with honor than live with shame. She raised the broken half of her sword and pressed it against her own throat. Scene 2. The moment of mercy. In a single step, Elias crossed the distance and caught her wrist. The jagged blade quivered an inch from her neck. "Enough!" His voice cracked like thunder, though he had no divine power, no army behind him. Just raw human will. Zeyra trembled. No warrior had ever dared to touch her in defiance. No foe had ever denied her the death she demanded. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you stop me, human? You have won. Take your prize." Elias held her gaze, his blue eyes calm against her raging storm. "Because mercy is not weakness. And maybe it's what you've been fighting for all along." For the first time in centuries, silence fell in her heart. Scene 3. A goddess remembered. The remnants of her army, those few who still lived, watched from afar. None dared approach, stunned that their invincible goddess knelt before a mortal. Memories flickered through Zeyra's mind. Worlds burned at her command. Cities bowed in terror. The universe whispered her name like a curse. She had been worshipped, feared, obeyed, but never spared. Her throat tightened. You would let me live, even after the lives I've taken." Elias released her wrist, letting the broken sword clatter to the ground. "I can't erase what you've done, but I can choose not to add to it." The goddess, who once commanded death as if it were her birthright, stared at the man who denied her both defeat and release. For the first time she felt small, not humiliated but human. Scene 4. The choice. Hours passed. The battlefield cooled, and the smoke thinned into starlight. Elias bound his wounds and sat across from her, silent. Zeyra remained kneeling, her pride in ruins, her mind a storm. Finally she rose unsteadily. "If I live, my people will call me traitor. They will hunt me for surrender. Then walk another path," Elias said simply. Her laugh was hollow, bitter. "I am war itself. What path is left for me?" He met her gaze again, unshaken. "Maybe one where you protect instead of destroy." The words struck her harder than any blade. Protect. The very concept was foreign, yet it rang true. Scene 5. The spark of something new. The stars wheeled overhead, casting silver across the dead plain. Zeyra removed her shattered crown and placed it at Elias's feet. "I am no longer War Goddess," she declared, her voice low but steady. "If I live unbound." Elias didn't take the crown. He only nudged it aside with his boot. "I don't need symbols. Just truth." Her lips curved faintly. Was it the ghost of a smile? Perhaps. Together they walked through the ruins, not as conqueror and defeated, not as god and mortal, but as two souls bound by something greater than battle. Scene 6. The ending and the beginning. When dawn came, the first light fell upon Zeyra's face. For the first time in countless ages, she did not raise a sword to greet it. Instead, she let the warmth settle against her skin, like a promise she had never known to keep. Elias watched her, weary but resolute. You still have a choice. Every day you'll have it. That's what makes us human. Zeyra's golden eyes softened, the flames within dimming into something gentler. Then perhaps, she whispered, I was never truly a goddess at all. The war goddess had chosen death over defeat. But when mercy was shown by a human hand, she chose life instead. And in that choice, the universe itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what she would become. When dawn came, the first light fell upon Zeyra's face. For the first time in countless ages, she did not raise a sword to greet it. Instead, she let the warmth settle against her skin, like a promise she had never known to keep. The battlefield lay silent now, littered with broken banners and steel. Yet amidst the ruin, something fragile stirred, the possibility of peace. Elias watched her quietly, his rifle slung low, his hands at ease. The war is over, he said, his voice low but steady. But ending a war isn't the same as building a future. That part starts now. Zeyra lowered her gaze. The weight of centuries pressed upon her shoulders, millions dead by her command, empires shattered for her pride. And you believe I belong in that future? She asked, her tone raw with doubt. Elias stepped closer, close enough that the morning breeze lifted both their hair. I believe anyone can change the story they write next. Even gods. Her golden eyes shimmered, the last remnants of divinity clashing with something more fragile, more human. If I walk beside you, I will be hunted, feared, hated. He offered her his hand, a soldier's hand, scarred but steady. Then we face it together. For a long moment she hesitated. She, who had commanded armies, who had toppled kings with a glance, found herself trembling at the simple gesture of a man's hand extended in trust. Slowly she reached out, and her fingers brushed against his. Their hands clasped, firm and unyielding. Zeyra exhaled, and for the first time in centuries, the storm inside her stilled. Very well, she whispered. If mercy can unmake a goddess, then let it also make something new. The two of them began walking across the scarred plain, toward the horizon where the smoke met the rising sun. Every step was uncertain, yet every step was theirs. Behind them, the shattered crown lay abandoned in the dust, an old symbol of conquest left to rust in silence. Ahead of them stretched a path no prophecy had ever written, a story no empire had ever told. The war goddess had chosen death over defeat. The human had given her mercy instead. Now, together, they walked into a dawn that belonged to neither god nor mortal, but to both.